if we are happy the entire time, then we have nothing to compare happiness with. And it is actually the contrast that creates the happiness more than anything. What is up? This is David, and today I want to talk to you about your emotions and maybe some of the negative emotions that we might not want in our lives and how to deal with these negative emotions. So you got to first understand that emotions, any kind of emotions, is actually very healthy for the human psyche to experience the full spectrum of emotions, whether that is depression or sadness, loneliness. It's actually healthy for us. And to give you a perspective of this, let's say that we were happy our entire lives. Our entire life we were happy. We never had a negative emotion in our entire lives. Well, the thing is, if we are happy the entire time, then we have nothing to compare happiness with. And it is actually the contrast that creates the happiness more than anything. And Freud figured this out. He said that happiness lies in the contrast of things. And as human beings, how we operate is we analyze things by comparing them to something. If we have nothing to compare it with, then we don't have like a perception. Okay, so we need something to contrast it with in order to define the very thing that we are experiencing. So in order to actually feel the feeling of happiness, we got to feel the opposite. We got to feel all these other negative emotions as well. And to give you an example to hopefully hit home for you is, let's take the example of like cold weather. Like say you are in the Arctic or somewhere, and it's very, very cold. It's very, very cold. You've been cold your entire life, right? So if you've been cold your entire life, not only will you not know what warm is, but you won't also know what cold is either, if that makes any sense. Because you've only had one type of experience your entire life. You don't have nothing to contrast it with. So your reality is very, very limited and very, very narrow. And so you won't know what cold is. Pretty much, if you've lived happy your entire life, you won't know what happiness is. So it's actually healthy to experience some of these negative emotions. With that being said though, so how do you deal with negative emotions that we are going through right now? And I'm modeling this off of some of Tony Robbins' stuff, and he calls this like the triad and everything. And I have a few of my own elements that I've interwoven into this. But first and foremost, let's talk about emotion. What are emotions? Let's break this down. Let's reverse engineer emotions. So what are emotions? Emotions are nothing but biochemical releases inside our body. Emotions are nothing but biochemistry inside the body. So question is, how do we create certain emotions? How do we create different biochemistry inside of our bodies? And there's a few ways that we can do this. First and foremost is using our physiology. Physiology creates biochemical reactions inside of our body, which then translates into emotions. So for example, if you all of a sudden started doing jumping jacks, and doing push-ups, then you have a biochemical response from your body, all right? And this like, very, very expressive and very, very big movement inside of our bodies creates a certain biochemical reaction, and these are usually more on the positive side, right? And so there are other aspects of physiology that we can use to create biochemical changes, such as our facial expressions. Did you know that just by smiling and just by letting out a little laugh, it also creates different biochemical changes inside of our bodies, which are more towards the positive emotions of laughter, right? And then like these good feeling chemicals such as serotonin and oxytocin and stuff like that. And another way we can use physiology to create biochemical changes is through our breath. The way that we breathe also creates different biochemical changes inside of our bodies. All right, so that's the first part, physiology, using your body to create different biochemical changes inside your bodies. So what are some of the other elements that creates biochemical changes? So believe it or not, thought and belief also impact biochemistry inside our bodies. So I will give you an example of this. Say, for example, there's a spider, like a big, huge tarantula crawling up your arm right now. What kind of emotion would that provoke? It would provoke like fear and anxiety, and then you'll have like a panic attack, right? And this is your body going into fight or flight. And this also creates a certain biochemistry. So here's the thing. What if that spider crawling up your arm was not a spider at all? It was I don't know, it was your sweater, and your arm was being brushed by a sweater. Then all of a sudden that biochemical release, it goes away, doesn't it? So here's the thing. Whether or not that spider was real or not, you created that biochemical change. The spider was fake, but because you thought it was real, you activated that biochemistry. So just with thought and belief alone, you created a biochemical change. All right, you start to see it now. And so how else can we create biochemistry? Well, the language that we use ourselves, the language that we have in our heads, and the environment that we're in also, affects our biochemistry as well. So at the end of the day, if you want just like a few little tips to take away, you can use your body and you can create biochemical changes in an instant, like this, by using your physical body. Okay, number two, you can use your thoughts or beliefs and changing those beliefs and to creating a different biochemistry inside of our bodies. And number three, you can use some of the language that you use, and you can reframe reality in a way that's positive. That also creates biochemical changes. And I didn't want this video to be too long. I don't want this to be an hour long. So, I tried to fit all of that into the short little video here. So I hope you found some value out of that. And when you're dealing with some, negative emotions, activate your physiology. Try working out, going out for a jog, going out for a walk. Start breathing. Do some breathing exercises. There's tons of them. You can YouTube them. And also focus on more on the positive side. If you focus your attention on things that you're grateful for, then anxiety, like sadness, depression, they have no space to exist if you focus on the more positive things like gratitude, for example. So that's it, and I hope you found value out of this content, and I will see you in the next one.